Welcome back. Today we're making Southern style Coca Cola cake. The first thing I need to do is preheat my oven to 350 degrees. And once I have it preheated, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to use a medium-sized saucepan over medium heat. And to that I'm going to add 1 stick of butter, a half a cup of oil, which I forgot to record, and 1 cup of Coca Cola. I'm going to bring that all together and I'm going to let that melt. And once it's melted, I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of cocoa powder. And this is the unsweetened cocoa powder. And we're going to go ahead and get that added. I'm going to give it a nice stir with my whisk. And I'm going to let that come to a boil. And while that's boiling, I'm going to go ahead and get my dry ingredients ready. I'm going to add 2 cups of white sugar to my mixing bowl. I'm going to add 2 cups of white flour. And then to that I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of baking soda, not baking powder, you want baking soda, and 1 teaspoon of salt. Now I'm going to put my whisk attachment on and I'm just going to give that a real quick mixing. And once I've got that mixed, I'm going to go ahead and add my wet ingredients. You see that's come to a nice boil. Take it off the heat after I shut the heat off. And I'm going to go ahead and pour that into my dry ingredients. So I'm going to give that a nice stir. Make sure I get all that goodness in there. To that, I'm going to add a half a cup of buttermilk. I'm going to add 2 eggs as well. Once I've got the eggs in there, I'm going to let that mix really well. Now, you don't want to overmix it, so you just want to make sure everything's incorporated. And I'm also going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla. So once I've got that mixed nicely, it's going to be really kind of the consistency of fudgy, like a fudgy brownie mix. So we're going to get that added to our pan. I sprayed a 9x13 pan with nonstick spray. Now this is for a customer, so I'm using a disposable pan. So I'm going to make sure I get all that chocolatey goodness poured in there. And scrape my bowl. And to my preheated oven, I'm going to put this cake. And now I'm going to check it at about 30 minutes. I'm going to make sure it springs back and the sides pull away when I touch it. See how it's pulling away a little bit, it's done. So I'm going to go ahead and let it cool. While I've got it cooling for just a few minutes, I'm going to go ahead and make my frosting. Over medium heat, I'm going to melt 1 stick of butter. And while the butter's melting, I'm going to sift 4 cups of powdered sugar. Sifting the powdered sugar makes sure the frosting is smooth. So I'm going to go ahead and add to my butter. I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of the unsweetened cocoa powder. So make sure that's added nicely. Now, you want to use unsweetened. I'm going to stir that really well. And to that, I'm going to add a teaspoon of vanilla. You can use imitation or you can use the regular kind of vanilla extract. And once I've got that stirred really well, I'm going to go ahead and shut the heat off. And I'm going to add that to my powdered sugar. And I'm just going to give that a really good scraping. Make sure we get all that chocolatey goodness out of that as well. This is a very, very rich cake. So I'm going to go ahead and set my mixer on low. I'm just going to make sure that's mixed well. And to that, I'm going to add 1/4 cup of heavy whipping cream. And I'm going to make sure that's mixed really well. It's going to be a nice consistency, not real thick. And so I'm going to go ahead and pour that on my warm cake, because you definitely want to do this while the cake is warm. It's going to spread beautifully. Once I've got this spread, I'm going to go ahead and add walnuts. Now, this is per a customer's request. I do it with walnuts, I'll do it with pecans, or I'll do it plain. It's really up to the individual buying the cake. And that's it. This is an old-fashioned Coca-Cola cake. I hope you enjoyed this video. And thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more from me in the future, please be sure to hit that subscribe button. I'll be posting 3 videos a week, 2 cooking and baking videos, along with 1 randomness vlog. I am not a chocolate cake person, generally speaking. I like coconut cake real well. I like vanilla cake. I like cheesecake, carrot cake, anything like that. But this cake here is so good. It's really moist and it's fudgy. It's almost consistency of a brownie, which I really like brownies. And It's just always been really good. It never turns out bad. It's easy to make. It's fairly quick. It's inexpensive. Now, the one thing I do is I use only Coca Cola brand in this. I don't use off brand. I don't use Pepsi. I think Coca Cola is necessary. But other than that, it's a pretty forgiving recipe. It's my top selling cake actually for my bakery. Probably followed with close second to my brown butter banana bars, which I'll be doing a vlog on in the future, along with probably my cinnamon rolls. The only thing I can make with yeast are cinnamon rolls, but that's another story for another day. But this was actually for my neighbor. It was his birthday, and his wife called me and asked me if I'd make this for him for a surprise. And so, of course, I obliged because I love them. We've been neighbors for nearly 13 years. I'm really blessed with great neighbors on either side of me. I have John and Judy, and I have Steve and Pam. And so I'm just really thankful for that. I have great people in my life. I have a very, very good relationship with them. I wouldn't even say we're friends. We're more like family. Over the years, we've developed a bond. But I think that's about it. I hope you guys have a great day. And remember, not every day is good, but there's always something good in every day. And I will see you next time.